I heard about Urban Promise through my cousins Tori and Corey and my little brother Donovan, and how they would talk about Mr. Bardaley and Mr. Mavine, and like they would just go on and on about those two, and how they helped them become better people. I wanted kids to talk about me that way. I wanted to be somebody they look up to. So when I was 13, I asked Miss Kristen for a job at Urban Promise. She said I had to be a little bit older, so I came to camp that summer a little bit. Something that stuck out to me as a camper was how the street leaders cared for me, and how Mr. Nehemiah and Miss Janae, they didn't get on to me with harsh punishments, and they didn't speak to me in a bad manner. They would just sit me down, talk to me, and work things out, and that really inspired me. An intern that impacted me that summer will be Mr. Will. He would pick us up from where we're staying and taking us back and forth to camp. It was one time he took us to the church, so we go on the trip to go out of the country, and I really appreciate that about him. And just taking the time just to interact with us. He talked to me about how if I wanted to be in the music industry, that I could just call him and hit him up, and like we could just make beats and like just have fun. When I was 14, Miss Kristen said I should apply to work at Urban Promise. I put my application in, and one thing she asked me is, what would I have to lose or put to the side in order for me to work here? I said my anger issues and how bad I was. Because after school, I would always go to the park and I would just fight, and I was like a really bad child. After the interview, I waited and I finally got to work here in the spring. My mentor, Mr. Carr, was the first person I told, and he told me that I have to put my childish ways aside in order for me to work there. Working at Urban Promise changed my life. I stopped fighting and doing bad things, and I stopped getting in trouble. I brought my grades up, and I believe that if I didn't start working at Urban Promise, I would be at the alternative school. A few of my favorite Urban Promise memories would be me and Mr. Jaden just coming to basketball camp with the Sports Crusaders before we had a middle school camp. Even though I was a little bit too old for regular camp, I still got to come in the afternoon and have fun and play basketball. Another one of my favorite memories would be going to the street leader retreat, and they were so much fun playing basketball and hanging out with Mr. Joel. Papa Frank and Miss Tara helped me with my homework during street leader tutoring on Tuesdays. Another volunteer who impacted me would be Mr. Dennis, and just coming on Tuesdays and interacting with us and talking to us and seeing how our day was. Just being someone that we could just talk to. Now I've worked here for 2.5 years. I've changed in many ways. I talk to people better outside of camp. I've become more confident in myself. At 13, I would have never pictured myself leading people the way I do now. Urban Promise is the thing I look forward towards after school. I always look forward to seeing the kids, to come here and see them smiling and talking and having fun. And the way they say, "Hey, Mr. Mario," just brightened up my day. Now that I am a team leader, one of the challenges is communication. Knowing how to get on to street leaders about certain things without offending them. Saying the right thing to help them become better leaders for our kids. The part I enjoy the most is being able to help out all the kids and street leaders and helping out with certain things and just helping overall. I was surprised by what people said on my birthday at camp. One of the street leaders I've known since 6th grade, and we never really gotten along, said that I was like a big brother to him and how I've helped him a lot and that I am a good mentor to him. What Bardo struck me as well by him saying that I was a big brother to him. And I see myself in a lot of that, Bardo. Him being in 8th grade just brings back memories, and I had a good mentor in 8th grade, and so does he. My dream for Urban Promise in the next 5 years is that Urban Promise would extend not just on Pike, but on Camp Robinson, Dixie, and even Rose City. And that we would have more street leaders and kids standing off the streets. And that kids would be more encouraged by our street leaders. I appreciate what you've done for Urban Promise and how it impacted me as a team leader.